Hogwarts Legacy is the best representation of the wizarding world in any video game to date, but when you strip back all the magic of being in the world that many of us dreamed of as children, how does the game stack up to other big titles that released in 2022 or are even set to release in 2023? After playing about 60 hours and 100%ing the game, I wanted to share my honest thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy. There will be minor spoilers, more just references to spoilers in this video, so this is your one warning. No matter where you're at in Hogwarts Legacy, or even if you haven't played it before, I want to know your thoughts and if you disagree with me in the comments below. This video is going to be formatted similarly to my 10-hour early impressions, where I give you what's good about the game, things that I didn't really care for but are still at least okay, and then my main problems with the game. If you don't want spoilers, you should definitely check out that 10-hour early impression video first and then come back when you're ready for spoilers. Without a doubt, the best part of Hogwarts Legacy is the world and environment. Even after putting so much time into the game, I still find new secrets in Hogwarts alone, which isn't even mentioning the expansive Scottish Highlands that you can fly around in. There are dungeons, side missions, mini games, even enemy camps, and so much to explore. The graphics are stunning and the mechanics handle very well. Summoner's Court is a minigame that's actually a bright spot for me. I wish it had a multiplayer component in which I could challenge subscribers or other content creators to the game, and it looks like PC may be getting a multiplayer mod, but there's nothing official from WB or Avalanche, which in my opinion is a bit of a miss. But Summoner's Court, like I said, is a fun minigame that stood out to me as something that could be more than just the 5 missions you have to complete. Along with exploration, the lore that's tied to the wizarding world might be the best interpretation of any book or movie series into a video game. I understand that this isn't actually Harry Potter, which is what the books are based on, but the world surrounding Hogwarts Legacy and the wizarding world is littered with so many little Easter eggs, secrets, and something that will make fans of the franchise happy. The Room of Requirements is an amazing feature. You can totally customize the whole inside of it, including options for walls, ceilings, floors, colors, and anything you want to help you brew potions or grow plants. There are 4 vivariums that help you expand the world of Hogwarts as you care for magical creatures. The space to fit animals inside the vivariums is limited to 12, which is small in my opinion, especially when you want to breed animals or have different colors of each beast, but they could easily increase that number in a patch. Shiny hunting for animals is a cool feature that no one's really talking about, and someday I'll hopefully have all of them shiny. Right now I have 5 out of the 12 unique beasts. Combat is fun, and this is where I transition to things that I'm not really the most fond of in my early impressions video, and I think I'll do the same here. There are so many combinations of spells that you can tie together, it makes combat fun, and you can always engage in combat in different ways than you did in the previous battle. There are even videos online of people using Wingardium Leviosa to hold a rock and hitting enemies with it until they're eliminated, which isn't necessarily even something that the devs had planned to be in the game, but it's very creative. All of that being said, after 60 hours, I found myself using the same 6 to 8 spells to get out of combat as fast as I could. It seemed repetitive and something that almost just stood in the way of me completing the task at hand. I learned all 3 unforgivable curses, and once you get to control them in the outside world, you become overpowered. Avada Kedavra nearly breaks the game, where you can run up to an infamous foe or boss and one-shot them, totally taking that battle and the mechanics that the devs worked so hard to put into the game straight out of it. Now the rebuttal to this is that you don't have to learn these curses, but honestly, why wouldn't you? And for the trophy hunters, there's a trophy associated with learning all the spells, and I'm pretty sure that these are included. Also, there's a talent for the Cruciatus Curse. When you hit them with a basic shot, it curses other enemies, and if you pair that with an Avada Kedavra trait that eliminates everyone that's cursed in the battle, you can essentially AK 6 to 10 people all at one time. As someone who wanted to get out of battle as fast as I could, sometimes it really helped out. Speaking of traits or talents, there are 36 talent points in the game and 48 skills, so you can't unlock every single one of them, but after about 20 skill points, I stopped unlocking some of the skills because I didn't find that they were helping my character become any more powerful. There also isn't a respec or reskill option, so be very careful where you put your skill points. One other head-scratching decision I had during my time playing was your inability to land on random rocks, towers, or even go through barriers that seem like you should have been able to go through. As expansive and big as the world is, not being able to fly into or over Hogsmeade on your broom is a missed opportunity. I'm not that upset that I can't fly through the streets of Hogsmeade, but when you are trying to go from one side of the map to the other and I wanted to fly straight over top of it, I wasn't able to. There's an invisible barrier that stopped me. I had to go around this almost invisible barrier rather than flying straight over the city. Also, when completing some of the Merlin trials, I would fly up to the top of a certain point to get to the next task, and I couldn't land on the rock that the task was on. So I would fly back down to the base and manually climb all the way back up to the task, which seemed like it was kind of an odd decision. If you've enjoyed this video so far, or if you're in the comments disagreeing with everything I've said, please drop a like as it helps my video get out to more amazing people like you. Now, before I get into the bad, as I've saved that for last, I want to briefly touch on how the game stacks up to other games I've played or even games I'm excited for coming out this year. Graphically, the game's amazing. There are very few games that have looked better than it, and most of them are single-player action games like God of War Ragnarok, Uncharted 4, and The Last of Us. Most of these games are about the same quality visually as Hogwarts Legacy. The sound in the game is immersive, and there's different types of music everywhere. I wouldn't even be surprised if Hogwarts Legacy won some award for sound design, but I've been on record a couple times saying that the voice sync is terrible. I compare a lot of games to God of War because it's a top 5 game of all time for me, and the way that they did voice sync, conversations, and cutscenes were top notch. Hogwarts Legacy is not the same, and there's just something off about when you talk to characters in game. Gameplay wise, the mechanics are fun. It controls well, and there aren't very many head scratching controls like when you play GTA, and you have to tap X to sprint on a PlayStation controller, which just seems like an odd Rockstar decision. Hogwarts Legacy's mission design just felt a bit outdated. Yes, the world and exploration is amazing, but you could tell that this game was in development for a while, as it wasn't really something new that I felt like I needed to keep playing. Tell me if you've heard this before. You go to an NPC to pick up a mission, go to a certain point to clear that objective, then you go back to the quest giver to pick up the reward. That's not a new video game mechanic, and at points during my time, I didn't enjoy it. It felt repetitive. If I absolutely had to give the game a score, it honestly sits at about an 8 out of 10, which lines up with what I predicted before the game's release. I have so much good to say about my time with Hogwarts Legacy, especially being a huge fan of the Wizarding World, but here's what I didn't enjoy with the game and loses some of those points. I know I may catch some heat for this, and you may totally disagree, but as engaged in the story as I was while I was playing through it, if I had to pick a weakest part of the game, the story would be it. Now, I enjoyed the story, so let me explain. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is my favorite book in this series, primarily because we see parts of the Wizarding World that we didn't know about, and we get memories through the pensive about the Gaunts, and we also see a side of Voldemort and even Draco that we've never seen before. Parts of Hogwarts Legacy reminded me of the Half-Blood Prince as we went back and looked through memories of dark times in the Wizarding World, but honestly, it didn't come to a worthy conclusion that I felt like the game deserved. It just kind of ended, or did it? Based on the ending you picked, you're either the hero that contained the ancient magic, or you took it with you for yourself and have this power inside of you. Either way, you get the same ending cutscene and house point celebration, so it actually didn't mean anything. Like I said, I did enjoy the story, and the Deathly Hallow mission might be one of my favorite missions in any video game because the depth and meaning behind the mission were so much more than running from point A to point B eliminating bad guys. One of the quotes reads, "There is no light without shadow, as there is no shadow without light." Simply because you can eliminate darkness doesn't mean that you should. People who understand how deep the meaning of this quote is hits you some type of way that can't be explained. So even though I'm saying the story might have been the weakest part of the game, I'm still giving it an 8 out of 10, which means I think the story is good, it just doesn't really stack up to other games I've played. My biggest concern of all came true, at least as of right now. After 100%ing the game and starting my other playthroughs, which I don't really think I'll play through the whole story 4 times, I will probably just play up to the map chamber room and get the trophies for the platinum. But there's nothing to do, and this is a problem with single player games that aren't a live service. Before I continue, we don't know about any plans for expansions or possible DLCs, or if they'll add a multiplayer, but in a single player world in Hogwarts, once you collect everything, get all the shiny fantastic beasts, complete all the Merlin trials, get every broom, collect all the field guide pages, there isn't any reason for you to exist in that world. It was a big fear of mine as someone who would rather buy one game and continue to support it through expansions and put thousands of hours into it rather than buy multiple games and put 50 to 100 hours in each of them. This isn't a Witcher 3 Wild Hunt or even Assassin's Creed Valhalla that has enough missions, side quests, and expansions to put over 1,000 hours into. I've completed the game in 60 hours and there isn't anything left. As much as I like the room of requirements, there's no incentive for me to continue going back and expanding it. With all that being said though, I've totally enjoyed my time and couldn't recommend playing Hogwarts Legacy enough. I think this is the game the Wizarding World needed, and it's a great stepping stone for games to come. I would love to see the next game have multiplayer and more to do, but until we find out any more news, here are some other Hogwarts Legacy videos to help you pass the time. Thank you for watching, I'll see you in the next video.